So Brazil is an interesting place because we had Goretti who made the magical dance with Paulo's incredible work behind, and the elephants. He makes the elephants go across. And when we talk about crisis and we talk about a divine mind is also a creative mind. And we've met many creative people. We're inviting onto the stage now Brother Ken O'Donnell, who works in the world of business and high-level government coaching and strategy and hard-edged things. I always like to introduce Ken as a poet, as a composer, as a dreamer, as a mystic, because that's when I see him come alive the most. Oh, he's here. And so he's a wonderful speaker and a wonderful mind and a creative mind. Welcome, Brother Ken O'Donnell.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks very much, Carolyn. So, congratulations for sitting here the whole day. And it's been an incredible experience. I spent most of my time sitting down there with you. But when I think about this topic, the first thing that comes to mind is silence, actually. Silence is the language of God. God doesn't speak Hindi or English or Portuguese or Spanish or German. I'm sure if God could come and speak, we'd be very shocked if he started to say, bonjour, mes amis, or hello, or namaskar. He wouldn't do it. So the language of the divine is silence. And that means actually not just not speaking. At a deeper level, it means to go to the experience rather than continue to talk in our own minds about things. Plato said that thinking was the soul talking to itself. But actually, you can be yourself without talking internally. You don't need words. How can you express love, for example? What is love? Maybe you could tell a few synonyms. Well, love is sort of unconditional, sort of feeling, it's giving. But then you run out of words because you can't explain love in words. And that's why I think, if I think of the second language of the soul, it'll be music. And music is a universal language, actually. And you can notice it anywhere. If you put on some music that's sort of got a good rhythm to it, everyone starts to tap their feet, right? And I had the privilege to do a concert for deaf people. Can you imagine a musical concert, singing songs to people who couldn't hear? I thought, well, how am I going to do this? So what I did was I just shared with the people the emotions that I had in writing the songs. And then, of course, I sang the songs with emotion. And, well, you could notice that people were really feeling it in their hearts. So you can transmit things at a deeper level. And when we talk about a mind that can help change the world, right? Actually, it's not a big secret, because if you look at the state of the world, you can exactly see the expression of the minds of human beings, at least in our human society. At least in our human society, you can see, for example, we think that pollution is something out there, or nature is something out there, but actually when we see pollution, we're seeing our own minds at work. When we see human systems, we see our own minds at work. And I must say that if I really wanted to help First of all, I have to look at my own creation, how I think, the condition of my relationships, the way that I relate to the material things around me, my house or my finances or whatever, especially the relationships. If there's a mess in our lives, personally, we can trace it to the mess that's in our minds. So this thing of different minds creating a different world is not such a big deal, because that's all we've ever been doing. The world that we live in is the world that we've thought into existence. It's come out of us, individually and collectively. So you look at Delhi. What is Delhi, for example? You look at the traffic. We're in Om Shanti Retreat Center, and the road from here to Gurgaon is like, incredible traffic that you never see in most cities. But what is that? It's a lot of people thinking about what they have to do and creating the world around them. So if we wanted to create a different world, we have to go into that deep silence and touch the bottom of our souls, let's say, and bring that out into our personal lives, and that's it. And I was remembering just after a big financial collapse, it was in 2009, I was with about, I guess, 3,000, 4,000 people in Mexico at a Human Resources International Conference. And since they work in human resources, they were, worried about jobs, because they're the ones that hire and fire in companies. And ask them, okay, how many of you will have your jobs 5 years from now? And not many people lifted up their hands, because even they were not having a guarantee for their future. And then I asked them, if you are doing something useful or beneficial for the world 5 years from now, do you think the world will give you a job? Everyone put their hands up. And I thought, but why does that happen? How do we know that if I'm using my thinking and my speaking and my doing in a beneficial way, how do I know that the world would look after me? Because it's something inside of us. We know, we suspect that what we do may not be so useful. The way we live our lives may not be so useful. But if you just think, how can I make my thinking and speaking beneficial? I think it's failing, the mic. Sorry. Mic is oscillating. Yeah, another one. Worse. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just inviting you to stop and think about the world that you're creating around yourself. And it's been said a few times today, if you're in a sort of a passive state, then you're actually just at the receiving end of so many things. And actually you're receiving maybe the results of your past. But if you start doing something and sending out good vibrations and bringing out the best of you from inside, you can start to notice that the quality of your relationships and the things around you change. And then you start to have confidence that if I can change, well, why can't others do it? And start to bring out the best from inside yourself at a very deep level. Now, I used to be much more involved with music than I am now. But I remember once I I was playing a song that I'd written, and I was playing it in my heart for God. As you could see, some of the musicians here were so deeply coming from their heart in bringing that out into the world, that what happened to me was I had the experience that any talent that I have is not for the service of the ego. Any talent that I have to hand it over to the divine. And just as I can play a guitar, for example, I'm the musician, guitar is the instrument. But actually, I'm the instrument and God is the musician. So there are two levels, right? He plays me, I play an instrument. He plays me and I speak, right? And of course, if you're doing something like that, then imagine the human creativity. We are so clever. Human beings are so clever. They can make the fantastic gadgets. They can make, they can make a communication with a satellite that's going around Mars. They can bring back images from the other side of the solar system. They can do so much, but sometimes they can't talk to the person next to them. They can communicate with the other side of the world, but they can't talk with their children or their husband or their wife or their parents. And we're so clever, we can make so many calculations, but at the same time, we do things that are so illogical, right? We can understand grammar so well, we can speak languages so well, but we don't know how to transmit our feelings. So these things, if I go back into a state of silence, I can start to see the words that are forming around me. And I really believe that if human beings could speak the same language, even verbal language, there would be much less problems. But if we could all speak the language of silence, which is the language of God, which is the language of silent love, for example, then at least we'll know how to get along with people who are around us. And if I ask myself, how can I make my life more beneficial? Just look at it. Could you be better with the people around you? Could you bring out your love to the people near you? Could you show could you give benefit to the people who live with you, who work with you? If you can create a different context, then you can start to believe that human beings can actually change the world. Because otherwise, all of us are fairly normal people, right? We have families, we have jobs, we do this, we do that. But we need to do something more than just live our lives. And especially if we're living our lives not so usefully. We could be more beneficial in the way we live our lives and the way we engage with other people. And we can touch the best in others. And I think one of the things that you've probably experienced here, listening to all of these talks and listening to all of this music, something very, very valuable may have been touched in you. And please water that. But that's all we can do. If we're going to make a divine world, it's like being a gardener. You have to plant seeds and you have to look after them. Give them the light of understanding, the water of care or love. Give them the soil of certain values in which they can grow. Give them the time of patience and give them space of freedom to move. And then you'll have a beautiful garden, at least growing in your own house. You can make a room of peace in your house where everyone can sit and believe that this is where they can sit and stay in peace. Can you do that? Have a room for peace in your own house. Can you do that? That everyone can just go there and go to that deeper state of connection with themselves and connection with God. And that will activate the best in the soul. And of course, it will make your home into a golden age, your home into a paradise. It's possible, right? Possible? Okay. So all you have is, from my side and our side, best wishes that your homes become heaven. Okay? So thanks a lot, and now we're going to continue with the program. But the most important thing of all, go into silence, experience your true self, make the connection with the divine, and instead of talking about the experiences, have the experiences. Yeah? Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ken.